anxiety. Anxiety is just things you just cannot control. That's all it is.
Hmm.
Is a fear of things you cannot control. So the idea of whatever you want, and then the response to it rather is like you want this person to be this thing, this comfort, whatever this thing is, right? And if they're not fitting that mold, that means you can't control them, which means then your anxiety increases, right? So
Mhm.
the ideal person
That's
is just
interesting.
anxiety. The ideal life that you're living is anxiety, right? Oh, if I have X amount of money, I'll be fine. If I have X car, if I date X person, if I go to this vacation at this time, my life will be so much better. No, that's just anxiety. It's just fear of things you just literally cannot control by itself, right?
The other way I've heard it explained is it's like your brain's like a problem solving machine, like the ones they're trying to replace us with. Um, and another way it does its job is by employing your imagination, and your imagination will create a scenario that helps you feel
Mm,
ready or safe. And
Mhm.
the line between that and generating anxiety is how much you live in that versus in what is.
Yeah.
interesting. That gap between what your brain is creating to deal with that situation and your reality. But the question I would ask, like, ask yourself, does this person exist? And to figure out that, there has to be someone that got close. Like, it can't be that you've lived your entire life, you're 35, I'm just saying my age, and, like, nobody's even come close. Because if that's the case, you want a Disney character. You want to date a Disney character, if that's the case.
I mean, they're also flawed,
They're also
but
flawed,
yeah.
yes. Look at this colonizer that wanted Pocahontas. But, yeah, Pocahontas was my and Pocahontas was my when I was a kid, I wanted to marry that woman, but I was a kid. Okay, and I wanted to share
For
her land
me,
unlike that motherfucker. Um, but anyway, it's not like I'm not mad at a fake Disney character, but I do think that some people are. I think some people are mad at this ideal doesn't exist, and you should ask yourself, like, who came close? Simply put, even if the relationship didn't work out, there has to be somewhere on the progress bar of that motherfucker. That progress bar got to move. And for me, there are people that I was like, okay, nothing is ever perfect. We throw that out there all the time. But there have been people that it's like, okay, that resemble certain things, certain combination of things that exist in a person. At least I know certain categories can coexist within a person. Okay. If you haven't found anyone that's come close, especially to the ones that you claim to be most important, and most people, when you ask them, they'll say things like, has a good heart, is intelligent, is funny. What's the filter out? Like, I'm applying now to so many jobs, and the ATS shit filters out your resume, like automatically. If women have internalized certain gender norms for men that they still search for in a world that is changing, and men are just basically going for sometimes who will go for them. Like the ultimate settle response. It's like, "Well, it's that time in my life and I want kids." So man, she was there. Like it's like you hear like this way overthink, like I said, like Disney thing with women sometimes, and with men, it's just like duh. It's like and she was there. Like these are both problems.
I think it's always interesting though, because you can settle wrong, and that's a bad
Hmm.
thing to do for the health of a relationship. But you can also, we were literally talking about it a second ago, right? You can also settle in a healthy way that's like, hey, I had this idealized picture in my head, but like I actually have to be in a relationship with another person, and that's gonna require mutual buy-in. So how do I get to mutual buy-in? Because I really like this other person.
So, yeah, it's a good way to put a mutual buy-in. My example was
Mm.
always it takes two keys to
Mm.
turn two keys to shoot the missile. But and
Yo,
I
and
mean,
yo,
yeah,
the
that's
fact
listen,
that
one
we're
way
almost
to
listen,
in fucking war
listen,
is like
listen,
it, anyway.
listen, Evan,
seconds
by
to
by the
midnight,
by
of
the
course. Yeah,
time
yeah.
by the time this episode comes out, it'll be way
Oh,
past the political aspect of
Yeah.
what's going on. I hope,
Right.
but
oh, fingers crossed.
at the same time, comedic timing,
Yeah.
sir. Chef's
Yeah.
kiss.
I mean, it does take both. So I'm just gonna say real quick my three factors for dating and relationships in very macro terms, and then get your thoughts on it. And then we're gonna get someone
Mhm.
else's thoughts on all of this that I found very entertaining. Um, I look at it like there's three parts, and the third one is the turning the key, right? So the first one is sort of like the checklists that we have that are more like almost kind of binary. It's like, you know, educated, even if it's not like at an Ivy League, but like, okay, this person's clearly educated. This person, I'm attracted to them in XYZ way. They like this and I like that, or they don't like this and I don't like that. They're seeing them as convenient or something, or they have similar income, like things that can be very superficial, and some things that aren't as superficial that are kind of nice. That like it's nice to have some commonalities. The first third is that. Then it gets from more binary to more analog, which is okay. But how do those things show up in your actual chemistry, right? Because you know you're checking for all these boxes, and then the motherfucker that will hike with you to top of Bear Mountain could be the most dry, boring 6 foot beard connect motherfucker that you've ever met,
Mhm.
or can be an absolute misogynist,
Mhm.
or likes our baby in chief, you know, any for all we know, and assaulter. I shouldn't say baby. That's too nice. Um, Assaulter in chief. Predator in chief.
Yo, Evan, you can't
No,
keep
Predator in
doing
chief
this,
is
Evan.
better
You
because
can't
it's a
keep
P,
doing this to
like
me.
POTUS. Predator of the United States. There we go. So you don't know how these things and humor, like there's different kinds of humor, but someone that can make you, as I said, to me, this is kind of the Kevon Stage thing when he said, find someone who you could have a no good, very bad day with. And I thought that was so good. It's like,
Mhm.
you're gonna have those days. If you really want the long term shit, the husband material, whatever, or the wife material, you're gonna have. You need someone that you could go through those things with, not just everything then the stars align. You need someone who you could have a positive experience, laugh, be romantic when your plane's delayed. Anyway, so the number 2 is like the chemistry and how that feels with that person and how those things actually the intangible things. And then the third part is just very simply based on those first two, what are you going to do? So, based on those first two parts, most of the time I'm turning that key. Based on those first two parts for someone else, even if they're positive and I they score well, the match ATS is high, match score is high. Um They may not turn the key. They just are like, yeah, because of this one thing, I ain't doing it. Or, it could be attraction, it could be location, it could be money, it could be XYZ. So, and that last one, I think, is where a lot of men get stuck, honestly, and women. But as this is mainly a podcast towards men, too many men and this is where the red pill forms and all these guys, they're trying to get someone to turn that key who won't turn that key. And my point is, stop doing that. Find someone else. Stop chasing the person who won't turn the key with you, because it doesn't matter if you align on all those other things. If they flat out are not going to give you the time of day, move on. And it's going to connect to the second thing. But, I think the reason why a lot of people are single is because we don't all pick people based on the same information. So those first two things I mentioned, those first two components can be very positive, and someone else still may not pick their partner based on that because they're only picking their partner based on 2 check boxes and lists 1, as opposed to a holistic combination of all those categories and how it mixes with the intangibles. So that's my kind of overview of like how I see relationships and where there's a lot of points of failure in them.
So when I was in college, my dad gave me some advice. He's like, hey, he broke it down into 3 main groups. He's like, gotta be physically attracted. You gotta have you gotta have sort of like the same mental wavelength, and then like last part, like personality, emotional. And he told me, Olivier, you're gonna get 2 out of 3. If you get all 3, it's bullshit. All right. and I kind of stand by that to this day. Cause like, for at least for me, right? Physical,
You got all 3
who
with your
cares,
wife.
man? Who cares? Cause at the I'm not
Don't
getting
get
into
him in
that.
trouble. Don't get him in
I'm
trouble.
not.
There's all 3. There's 3 for 3.
I'm not getting to that. Okay, I plead the 5th. Okay, I plead the 5th.
We still got rights for now. Yeah.
All right, I said. All right, I plead the 5th. Right, but at least for me, like at least the part of the physical, I'm like, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter to me when I was in college or when I was in high school. It doesn't matter to me now because like we're all gonna get old and wrinkly one day. You what's gonna stay? Your character, right? Mentally, right, you might have dementia, whatever it is, but like your personality stays, right? The way that you treat people, the way you treat others, the way you treat yourself, that part of you still stays. Um, and at least I can say with confidence, at least with my wife, is like that if she does get dementia, knock on wood, she's a good person, right? She cares about other people, she cares about herself, she cares about others, right? Even if she forgets them, she's still nice, still cordial, all positive things in that aspect. So if you have someone who's an asshole, who's mean all the time, and they look good, the looks are gonna fade. You can put as much plastic surgery on into it as much as you want, right? You're not gonna look. It's okay to age like fine wine. That's perfectly fine. That's what I want to do. That's my personal goal. I want to be like 65 and be like, yeah, he can still get it. You know, that's what I want to be. 65, and be like, yeah, he can
I
still
mean,
get it.
Salma Hayek almost 60. But even with something like intelligence, for example, if you can be intelligent and be a mean, shitty person, you can be intelligent and not be empathetic. It's like there's a lot of book smart people now. I'm not talking about Trump, obviously, but other people that are like around him who
Oh, I'll name him. Don't worry, I got you. I'll name him. I'll name him. I
Levin,
got you. I got a
Bannon,
couple on my list.
Dershowitz, all those motherfuckers.
Stephen Miller, Andrew Tate, Christy Nome. I will name him. No problem.
I
Marco
wouldn't necessarily.
Rubio.
So this guy could be, or this woman can be very intelligent, but if they don't have empathy with it, doesn't. All these qualities only matter in certain areas. I give a bit of a caveat to yours because to me it's like I gave you the example of the baseball analogy. There's all these different ways to rate a player's abilities.
Mhm.
They're not all going to be 99, but they all have to exist. You can't have a player where run doesn't exist, throw doesn't exist. It has to exist. It doesn't have to exist at the highest level, but it has to exist. For example, I may be a homebody, someone else may love to go out, but I will make compromises because you are a special person in my life. And I'll go on that hike because it's with you. Like, I'm not going to be a direct match for, hiking and camping. But if that's your shit, I'll leave my opinions leave the rest to the bears to myself. And because we took so much from them, just saying.
Took a lot of L's that week.
Anyway, so we got you got to make I'll compromise. I'll dig a hole and make marshmallows and shit. If that's really what you want, and everything else is good, fine. But you know what? When you find someone who does things like that, it actually means a lot. Like, it means a lot when
Mhm.
someone goes along with something because they know you like it and you're passionate about it. So anyway, I think that I'm just keeping those factors in mind that Olivier said that the other thing is that I do you gotta if you're gonna be in a long term relationship with someone, I have a very wide spectrum of attraction, but I'm sorry, you gotta like their face. You're waking up to it every day. You
You
are
know what?
waking up to that face every day.
Oh, I'm gonna no, I think so. The thing with physical attraction, and this might be a me thing, is I'm like, it's low on my list of like priorities in finding
Mm.
a match, because if we take it the way that your father talked about, and I was ranking the three, I was like, physical attraction's like one of the first ones that disappears. Because if the other two things are a match, that's infinitely more attractive in infinitely more stable ways over the long term.
Ag-
Because it's like, yeah, you were really hot, but that was all there really was between us. Am I still thinking about it? Not so much. Am I thinking about how well I connected with people who were less attractive, air quotes? Yeah, because those were much more fulfilling and better experiences.
As- But but here's the thing, like no one likes to know. It's more will the attraction grow? There's no way. In my opinion, there's no way you're going to be in a relationship with someone you're not attracted to. Also, because if they ever knew that, they'd feel awful. So
Yes.
this
Mm.
thing with attraction is like it got to be there. The question is, do you understand the way attraction can work? And I have learned that I have a very wide spectrum of attraction. I've dated all body types. I love, as a short guy, I love tall women and I love short women. I love women who are curvy and I love women who are slim. But anyway, uh, like it has to exist. How it exists, I think, is something that we don't completely understand. Attraction can grow. Attraction doesn't always start the same way, and it can show up in different ways over time. And because of the other things you both mentioned, the character of the person and your enjoyment of them, use that to give it time and see if everything else is there, and it has to be there. But if those things are there in a meaningful capacity, then yeah, I do think you should see if it can grow. But it's not fair to any of us if at the end of the day you're not attracted to me because I don't want to hear that. I'm sure you wouldn't want to hear that. And I don't see it lasting. So I think it's how attraction. Like I used to think that I have to be interested in a woman in this exact same way she's interested in me from day one, and I've learned that it's okay to grow on someone. It's okay. I know some guys don't want to hear that, but I've accepted it because no woman dreamt about dating a short motherfucker. So I, after just a period of time, just accepted that I will never be that, but that's okay because after they meet me, it can become something.
I just want to add a little meme of just being like, "Hey, Evan, what's your type?"
Yeah,
Yes.
basic. Just show planet Earth.
That's
Is she from here?
It's
Is
just
Dude,
she
show
get
from
you.
here?